Eastern Shore Talk, where peace begins. We talk life, love, and what's within. Movies, healing, self-care flow, real talk, safe space, let it grow. Eastern Shore Talk, where hearts unwind. Sip your peace, speak your mind. Eastern Shore Talk, feel the vibe. It's your moment, come alive.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Eastern Shore Talk, your podcast for all things self-care movies. This is your first time tuning in. Welcome. We're glad to have you. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit like, and leave a comment below. If you're listening on one of the other podcast platforms, join, subscribe, follow, and leave a comment or a review. I can't tell you how much that helps us out. This is episode 86, and I'm Jay Watson.
I'm Cathy Castle.
And Cathy and I are going to be joined by a very special guest, and I'm going to let Cathy introduce our special guest.
Yeah. So I'm glad to introduce our guest, Kawana Webb. And I mainly know her because she's the mom of some really cute kids. I guess I shouldn't say that about your oldest because I don't know him like your youngers. And she's got this adorable daughter that everybody's fascinated with. She's like a queen at all the games because everybody's like, oh, she's so cute. But she's growing up and she needs to stop. I'm not in approval of her growing up. But anyway, I know Kawana from the ball field. Our husbands go to the dad zone where they can complain and say their things and nobody hears them, and then Kawana stay in the mom zone, and we chase littles and things like that. But so I've had such a good time with her family, watching the kids grow up, watching Easton High games together, and just I guess we're getting old together too, right, Kawana? But if I'm going to officially announce her, she's a mom of 3 great kids. She's a social worker like I am. She's passionate about advocating for others and helping people live their best lives. She's done many things in her social work career. She was an adjunct professor. I've seen her do workshops where she's doing continuing education workshops, and I've been a student of hers, getting credits as she's done that for National Association for Social Workers. She's a private practice therapist, a clinical supervisor, and she owns her own company now, Perennial Counseling and Consultant. Let me try it again. Perennial Counseling and Consulting Services. It's an LLC. So happy to have her on tonight because she's going to talk something near and dear to all of our hearts, which is sports.
Yeah, sports. Thank you guys.
I don't know
so
if I
much
missed
for
something.
having me.
If you want to say anything I missed in your, big career there.
No, nothing at all. I appreciate you for having me. I'm really excited about being here. Love sports. My 3 kids all played and continue to play sports, and definitely want to dive into that conversation a little bit tonight.
Is your oldest a coach? Does he coach?
He does a little bit of everything. So he graduated from Frostburg State University. He played football there, but he owns his own business where he does speed and agility training for kids.
So it's
So he's a
interesting.
coach, but just of many people.
Cathy, way back at the beginning of our podcast, we had Dylan on, and he talked about the positive side of sports and how sports can be good self-care in and of itself. And that's certainly can be true if things are going well. But we're going to touch tonight, and Kawana's has through her practice done some things with athletes as far as the potential negative side, the pitfalls of pressures and the mental health issues that can come along with highly competitive organized sports. So we're going to dive into that side of things, and so it'll kind of be, I guess, hoping our young people especially can kind of find a balance between the joy of sports and making sure that it's in a healthy mental health space for them at the same time.
Well, I'm excited to hear her talk about this topic because, besides us talking ourselves offline, there's the kids, there's the college kids, and then I don't know what you've done after college, if you've seen anybody that's more on the professional side or not. But, I know what I've seen with kids, our kids, the pressures, probably even how pressures have changed since social media. I mean, from when our oldest to our youngest, have grown up in sports, the social media has become such a big deal. And I even feel like there's some bullying amongst teams sometimes, when those rivalries turn a little interesting. And it's just pressure, everybody's looking at you. And I know baseball is certainly an individual pressure sport. And I know my kids will get in their heads plenty of times over that. So I'm interested in what you have to, what you've learned and what you're teaching people. And I was even thinking about it the other day as far as professional athletes go. And I'm just talking. I'm not. You don't have to answer any of these right this
No,
second.
you're good.
But a friend or one of my kids had a friend that was dating a professional athlete, and just here's a 20 whatever 22, 24, however young some of these kids are when they or young adults are when they get into major sports, and then here comes a lot of money. Here comes big signing bonuses, and then not by any fault of their own brains haven't even fully developed yet, and they've got $1 million in their hands, and how do they juggle these good decisions? Everybody now wants to be your friend. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this the rest of my life? So there's just pressures everywhere, I think. But besides that, sports are amazing. Probably kept my boys so much they've learned from teams, from coaches, but very good coaches and coaches maybe that could use some coaching themselves. They've learned a lot from parents, from other kids. I'm a big fan. And
Yeah.
I'm so sad I can't identify as a Easton High baseball mom anymore. I might need to talk to you on the side about my identity crisis about I'm not a baseball. You're still a baseball mom. I'm not a baseball mom. So sad.
Yesterday, I was a soccer mom and a softball mom, so
You're still the sport mom.
I'm still being a sport mom.
Now an
Exactly.
observer.
Yeah, I think it is a lot of pressure. It's so many positive things that come with sports, and it can be negative things, but it just depends on the person. It depends on how people handle things. And so it's definitely something that we can dive into a little bit. The reason why I got my certification, so I just got my certification in sports social work. Didn't know that was a thing. One day, my husband and I were talking and on my way to work, and we were just talking about the pressures of sports and how the effects of it with mental well-being and mental health. And he was like, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a sports social work program or something? And I was like, that would be cool. I'm going to Google it. And I Google everything. And so I got online and I Googled, and there was one through Tulane University. It's a alliance for for social workers in sports. And I'm like, who knew? And so I was telling him, I'm like, this is a thing. I want to do it. And within 2 weeks, I was doing the program with Tulane University. And I absolutely loved all the information that I was able to receive from people that were doing the work, social work. It was just really good networking opportunities, really good information, very eye opening to see how it has evolved over years.
I know, Kathy, I look back as you were talking about how social media has kind of impacted, the pressures of young athletes. And I was like thinking back to our days, and we were talking before we came on about 40 years ago,
Mm.
our senior year. There were certainly there were parental pressures, there were, pressure teammates, not
To
that
keep
all
your
the teammates were
grades
that
up,
way.
right? To keep
There was
grades.
there was some internal self pressures, and I think I've touched on this before, where baseball for me was kind of a love hate thing. It When I was young, like little league and senior league age, like it kind of really saved me. It kind of gave me my only what I thought in my mind as a young person was my only identity where I belonged and excelled and all that. Now later on, it became an unhealthy thing because I was, after graduation was playing, men's softball, and it became a dependent thing on my part where I was like, I can only be happy playing softball. So it kind of held me over till I got to adulthood. And then it kind of really sat on the other shoulder and was like an unhealthy thing. So, I'm sure that, and I was thinking of like today where it's like scouts at high school baseball games are much more common than they were back in the day. Not that it didn't happen. And I can imagine where not only that one player that the scout might be there to see, but also if the other players are aware that that scout's there for the other player. Now I know they try not to let the players know that the scout's there until after the game's over, but that's not always the case. I was thinking
Yeah.
of pressure like that where you've got player X who's the star of the team. He's got University of Maryland's baseball coaches there watching him play. A, how does that affect that player during that game? And B, how does that affect the other players that are now going to perceive him in a different light because he's quote unquote the star of the team because he's got the scouts there and the scouts not there to see player Y, for example. So I'm sure there's some things that as you start counseling more and more athletes, Kawana, you'll start running into different scenarios like that where the mental health things are and social media, we talk about that just about every episode because it affects everything we do.
Yeah, agreed. Like you said, sometimes a scout don't even have to be there because of social media. If someone posts anything,
Yeah,
then someone else sees it, and then the comments that come with it can be helpful or hurtful.
yeah.
So it does kind of control a lot of who we are now because lots of people have now access to you, voluntary or involuntarily. They have this access to you, and that affects how you feel about yourself at times. It can be.
So I'm curious for both of you, like you both having had, in Kawana's case, still have athletes that are playing sports. Like, I'm sure you have maybe a story or two about like some things that you saw in your own kids as athletes, kind of the negative impact of things going on with them as a parent, and had to kind of like talk with them as a parent and say, hey, and you're both social workers, so there's the parent hat and the social worker hat. You try, I'm guessing, not being a parent myself, you try to wear them both at the same time and kind of bring that to your own kids. So I'm curious as are there stories that you can each share about like some negative things that sports brought to your kids as athletes and how you've handled that.
I tell you, I know that you can take me and Kawana and both of our husbands, and we probably all were very similar in how we treated our baseball kids anyway. And we're like, oh heck no, you better put your head up, don't be throwing that bat, don't want to hear no nonsense, right? We were all like, get out there.
Yeah. And my kids always think I'm social working them, because I'm always, one of the things I do in therapy is like inner critic and inner coach, and I'm always trying to be that coach for them at home. But my coaching is not like get on the field, hit ball. My coaching is like you got this. No matter what comes, you can handle it. We are going to make this happen together. And so it's always like I'm trying to coach them up from the positive aspect of affirmations, like no matter what, this does not define you. You always can go out there, live to live, to play another day type of thing. And so I feel like whenever they hang their head low about something, I'm always like, this is just one moment in time. Like this is temporary. Tomorrow will be a new day. We can move on. And I love mantras. So mantras are my thing. And I like to speak mantras and say different positive quotes. And my mom has always taught me like whatever you say, like your words have power, right? And so
Manifestation.
I try to think about it from affirmation standpoint of whatever I say will affect how I think, how I act, and so it affects so many things. So I just try to always just be that coach for them as it relates to like, you got this. We're going to make this together and try to have them make an identity outside of sports because
Yeah.
sports are very time consuming. My kids play travel sports. My middle son, especially, played travel sports. And I stayed on the road and doing things with him. And I loved every minute of it. But I never wanted that to be I didn't want that to be who he is,
His identity.
only defined by a sport. I wanted him to have other interests and Every time we went somewhere, I'm like, what other things can we do besides play baseball? Or what else can we do to give you exposure to other things? Like baseball might have barred us to this particular location, but we're going to explore other things while we're here. I don't know. I feel like my stories have been, there are lots of pressures, but I try to always think about how can I coach them from a social work standpoint, or how can I give them that positivity. I like meditation, my kids not so much, but I try to figure out like what is your calm, what brings you joy, and let's try to do that. And
And for us, I think every kid I've had has been different. All four played ball. The first one was my first time being a mom dealing with, this is over. What am I going to do? And I remember Brennan walking off the field, just, that was such a hard, I couldn't, there was a video too. I didn't watch it for 7 years. I didn't watch the video of Brennan coming off that field and us embracing for 7 years. But anyway, that first, what am I going to do now? That was hard, that one. The second one, Jaden, was easy. I don't remember any, that was just smooth. That's just the way he is in life. And then the third, Tristan, he was the COVID kids. So those sports seasons were boom, 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 right there at the end of that senior year, and that affected those kids, or at least my child, tremendously, even still to today. And then like the loss, it was a real significant loss. I don't have what the other boys had. I This isn't fair. It was a hard time for him.
one of those things like it's not fair, but it's
Yeah,
nothing I can do about it.
we
So
can.
kind of like that control. I don't have control over this situation.
And then with Dylan, we've talked about this before on the podcast. He's a type 1 diabetic, so we've always fought sugar highs, sugar lows, and how to be as normal as everybody else on the field, which is a mental game too. So that's kind of been our discussions in our home.
How much pressure? Just questions for both of you. How much internal self pressure did your children as athletes put upon themselves? In other words, how often did they come home and say, I was lousy this game, or I need, not because someone else or the coach had said that, but just because and look, again, there's a balance. We all, whether it's sports, whether it's our career, whatever it is, hopefully we get better, we improve as we go along, we get better and better. And I think there's some healthiness to that. But if you're losing sleep, if you're not eating right, all those symptoms that Cathy and I have talked about, how much internal pressure did your kids as athletes put upon themselves?
I guess for my youngest, it depends on what sport it is, because every sport seems a little different, right? As far as like being a role player, let's just use soccer for instance. Like you're on defense, so you only have like, this area to cover. But when
Right.
you're playing softball, it's like just you and the ball, and so there are opportunities for them to kind of get in their own head and feel like I can't do this. And we always, like kind of have the mentality of that happens, so what we're going to do next, from the standpoint of we got to do things differently. Like if we want different results, we just got to do things differently. So I've seen it where my kids have said a thing where it might like be hard on themselves or whatever, always trying to look at, yeah, mom, I know I need to do something different, or I need to pull myself up. My One of my kids like kind of they kind of use it as fuel whenever I have a bad game, to work harder or to try harder. I will say my oldest son, he's super disciplined. And so he's very much of, if this didn't work, then what can I do differently? And just looking at avenues to make changes. But I feel like their mindset has been very much of, I'll talk it out, we'll figure it out together and move on to the next moment. Not like down in the dumps for too long anyway.
Mike Dylan's the one that gets in his head.
So it kind of had that
He
inner
still talks
critic.
about the last game. If only I
No,
got that ball. I'm like, are we still doing this? I'm
I,
really, Jay, I don't know if you had another question, but I'm really interested in, some of what you've learned in the certification. Is there any
I,
kind of, if
you
there's
know,
anything that's
yeah.
surprised you, or anything that you would really pass along that you didn't think of before?
I think the biggest thing that surprised me was athletes are like, I can work with them the same way I can work with almost any client, but always honing in on the identification part, honing in on bringing joy to their when they're playing in the game. Also, like the diversity of things and the pressures that they are encountering. Because if I'm a person that's just a student, just go to school, but I'm not playing a sport, for instance, and I don't have the pressure of teammates, and I don't have the pressures of the parent or colleges and things of that nature. Those things are different. So, in knowing that those things are different, it's always a battle of how can we hone in on looking at the positive, not always looking at the things that are going wrong. How can we hone in on really embracing the affirmations or finding different coping strategies that are going to help you? Because with an athlete, you have to be super consistent because they're consistently feeling this pressure. It's an ongoing thing. So teach a lot of like mindfulness and breathing techniques and building self confidence. Things that I found that were super surprising was the amount of athletes that really are feeling pressure, or the numbers and of athletes that just report depression and low self-worth were really alarming, as well as some athletes not wanting to talk about what's going on because we always have this stigma of
Stigma.
don't cry. I mean, we say it all in baseball is there's no crying in baseball, right? And so people just kind of like, I'm tough. People see me as this particular person, and I don't want to be seen as anything different. So that's the hard thing.
When you're talking, Kwan, I'm reflecting back to what I said earlier, and as I tend to do when a guest is talking, my mind is flying. I'm like, I'm very analytical by nature. So, and as you were talking, I'm imagining like talking to an athlete that might be going through something and asking that athlete, let's just say it's a baseball player, why do you play baseball? And again, I reflect on me, and you know, you're talking about the numbers of athletes, the how high the numbers are as far as athletes having depression and anxiety, and it really made me really go back to that. So are they playing for the right reasons? And not to say that everybody's experience is going to be like mine, but I would think that there are probably players in any sport, both male and female, that the pressure began even before they stepped on the field for the first time, whether it's their sibling was a star athlete or their parent was a star athlete. So now they just feel like whether their family ever told them they should, they just felt like they needed to play that sport. And for that reason, and probably some others, they've gone into it. They might like it, might enjoy it. They even might end up being a good player, but there's that why that's always back there. Like when we enter any relationship for the wrong reason. It's not. It's
That's a good way to put it.
yeah. You're
Yeah.
going into a relationship with the sport and with your teammates and the coaches. So you're bringing this thing to. It's not a romantic relationship or a family relationship, but it's you know, and it's the relationship with yourself. And look, again, not everybody's going to have the experience that I had. Mine's, although it's probably not as rare as we might think. And males don't want to talk about it, especially. So they're not going to say, oh, I played baseball for the wrong reasons until maybe later in life. Like me, I didn't know it at the time. When we don't know what we don't know, um, yeah, and I'm rambling because I get so the why. I'm a why person, Kawana. I'm like, if we could figure out the whys, we'd all be so much better off.
So I got a couple questions, and I get the whole stigma thing. With gosh, in our business, we're dealing with it in every aspect, right? But so one, I just want to ask you: do you think that kids are becoming more receptive to using self care techniques to kind of deal with how they're feeling about the pressures of sports and school and whoever's saying what nonsense on social media? And do you think they're more open to
I
different?
do, because of social media.
Yeah.
You think about it, like LeBron James. I'm just going to say he's partnered with the Calm app, and so
Okay.
he talks about meditation. He
Michael
has
Phelps.
tons of social media video. Who else?
Michael Phelps. He
Yeah, yep, yep. And so some people are being really open about it, and that makes them feel like I'm not. which is great because who wants to be alone in anything? And so to have that support of people that they look up to is very helpful. I think teens are very in tune with coping strategies because even in schools, they are teaching coping strategies. They're teaching ways to calm ourselves, emotional regulation, those type of things. So, and therapy is just allowing them to take it a step further. What
Do you
else
feel
can
like
we
they
talk about?
are teaching this in school?
They are, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. But where would they be learning that? Just
So it just
how?
depends. Of course, every school's a little different, but most schools, they have like a school counselor or a school social worker that might come in the classroom once a month and they talk about a particular topic, or they might do things on announcements. And I'm just speaking for like my daughter, that her announcements that I listen to has a lot of strategies about making good choices, has information about coping strategies. And so I found that to be very helpful because they are being very open about utilizing that. Even teachers sometimes are like, if that's their practice, that when kids come to the classroom, they're like, hey, the first 2 minutes we're going to do a breathing exercise or we're going to do a calming exercise. So it's starting to become more prevalent in the schools.
I'm glad to hear that. I really am very glad to hear that.
That takes me back, Kathy, to the conversation that we had from the beginning of this when we were talking about, you would ask clients, what are you doing for self care? And we talked about maybe that's the wrong question, and asking, what do you enjoy doing? And with young people especially, if you throw the term self care at a high school sophomore, well, shoot, there are people our age, Kathy, when you throw the term self care, that they scratch their head and they're like, they think they know, but they don't really. But if you were to say to them, okay, what do you enjoy doing? Just forget about the sport for a minute. What do you enjoy doing? Is whether it's painting or you know roller skating or whatever it is, hunting, whatever it is, and then kind of you know if it's because if you were to say, okay, high school sophomore, I know when I was a high school sophomore, if someone has come to me and said, you know, hey, you need to do some self care to help you with X, Y, and Z. You're having some feeling some pressures on the baseball team. You need to do some self care in these other areas. It would have gone over my head.
Yeah,
But if they were to
I
say,
agree.
"What do you enjoy doing?" and then kind of going from there and just asking it in a high school sophomore kind of way, yeah,
Like, what do you do to bring you joy? Or when you feel stressed out, what do you do to help you relax your mind or things of that nature? Because it could be a lot of things. It could be I take a walk. I just want to feel the air outside, or I like to be in sorry, in my backyard. It could be
Jay, you'll love this. You know
a
what my
ton of things.
boys will do? Jay will understand this. Mom, are you making tea tonight?
That's a
Hot
good
tea,
one.
hot tea, or hot. Brennan's my hot cocoa kid, but
Marshmallows or no marshmallows. Let's go with
Brennan,
that.
he comes to my house and makes his hot cocoa in his. He's got cold foam on it, peppermint pieces, cinnamon. He's got the whole thing, man.
Wow,
Marshmallows. He's got the deluxe.
fancy.
He's got the hot chocolate parfait. But
When you say hot chocolate, I think about well, I tell some people like went for a breathing exercise, the hot cocoa analogy, right?
uh,
Smell the cocoa, blow the cocoa. So your breathers and you holding your cup of
yeah,
cocoa, right? Smelling your cocoa and
you're
you're breathing.
blowing, cooling it
Yeah.
off to drink it.
Uh-huh.
it's amazing. And Kawana, just to let
Mm.
you know, Kathy was the one who got me into drinking hot tea. I'm a cold tea, sweet tea guy, but she's like, Jay, she even bought me for Christmas one year this whole like hot tea pack to try. And I tell you, and at first I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, she's crazy. But I tell you, there's something about not just the drinking of the tea, but it's the whole process of because you're so, at least for me, I'm so present in that moment with the tea. I'm not thinking about 8 hours from now or 8 hours ago. I'm present with the tea right now for this 15 or 20 minutes or whatever it is. If you do that, like we say all the time, Kath, if you do things like that frequently enough, often enough, with intention enough, and now you're starting to now it starts to accumulate in a positive way.
The intentionality of it,
Yep.
especially. Yeah, I
I
like
wanted to
that.
ask you this, Kwana, where I pulled something up on my computer. It's through this one is through the Maryland Department of Health actually, and it's design. It's a training, virtual training, for 1 hour lessons. It's a virtual training modules called QPR.
Yes, I've heard
QPR,
that.
you heard that for athletes, and it means question, persuade, refer. So I don't know if they're still doing it. I bet they are, but the Department of Health of our state was offering these
For
for free
coaches
for
and
coaches. Yeah, coaches.
anyone in the community, but especially coaches. Yeah.
So, 4 1 hour lessons, learn intervention skills to reduce risk and enhance athlete safety, gain techniques to promote athlete well being, understand how to create a safer environment through evidence based strengths. So, the idea is to start training up coaches, spiritual leaders, whoever that's working with kids, after school programs, so that they can help with just exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Jay and I was talking about this before we started the podcast, was how colleges and universities are now having the mental health component. And the NCAA has made that a new law, legislation that every college and university will have some type of mental health consultant,
Wow.
even if it's not a person that's on staff, but someone that they can have a list for, they can call and just have a conversation if a student needs the mental health component. I think that just happened in 2024.
Yeah, Kawana, we were talking before you got on, Kathy, about wouldn't it be nice if, like, for example, let's just say, University of Maryland, their football team has like Wednesdays at 4 o'clock is weight room time for an hour. Wouldn't it be great if, because they've got big conference halls where all the players can sit in there for an hour all together, have, Thursdays at 1 o'clock is, mental health check-in where even if they don't, the players aren't talking directly to the counselor can be touching on whatever and asking just general questions. And maybe they do make an appointment. Maybe there will be appointments that one-on-one appointments that come out of something like that. And there might be colleges that have been forward thinking that might be doing that already. And that's great. I
I have
think,
spoken to some colleges in Maryland that will have once a month, like mental health meetings. So they have a particular topic where a counselor will come in and they talk about that topic. If the student want more information, then they can see that person afterwards. But
yeah,
yeah, so it's some colleges that are definitely trying it. So what I was referring to is the 2024 NCAA mental health best practice document. And so in early 2024, is developed by NCAA Committee on Competitive Safeguarding and Medical Aspects of Sports. And so what they are doing is just designing best practice that students' mental health is evaluated, or, having a consultant on staff or someone that they can reach out to if they do see that their mental health is declining.
Because we know friends that have had kids that are, they're struggling. They're away from home
Hmm.
and they're have the pressure of trying to, college work is not no joke. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
And then dealing with the
it's a huge
what is
transition.
workout for the school or the sports. There's a lot of commitment to that. It's like a job.
Hmm.
And how do you deal with your
It
own
is.
mental health within that?
well, it's just kind of common sense to me because, and you'll hear coaches and administrators at colleges talk about, when your student athlete is here, they're under our care. And I think they want that to be the case, but they universities and especially the athletic programs benefit by having the student athlete be the best version of themselves they can be, even if it's no more than just for results on the field. Yes, there's a human component where we just want them to be well, period, but it serves their benefit to have, their star quarterback, especially, be in a peaceful, healthy place mentally, and just general wellness. It serves the athlete and it serves the program, by results on the field. So it's, we got the whole NIL thing. That's a whole other side of things where the college athletes are now making money. So why can't we throw some of that
And as you
NIL
were
money
talking,
for
Jay, when
mental health?
you're talking about the mental wellness of a student, um, I always think about college is not where it stops. Like,
Yeah,
I want you to go out and be a productive citizen. So they should be teaching these strategies and these skills and these resources, giving these kids resources so they can go out and have a career that's successful one day. And so, thinking about the whole person is much more to it than just preparing them in the sport. And as we think about positive things with a sport, sports teach so many things.
Yeah.
Right. And so it teaches community, it teaches students to have a bond, it teaches them how to communicate with other people, how to show empathy. It's so many good things that sports can provide. So I definitely want to make sure, we talk about that. It provides students with that inclusion aspect of things as well. But when a student or athlete is injured, that can be detrimental,
Mm.
because then we go back to how long is it going to take for them to heal. And like you said, Jay, you were using baseball as your way of just kind of like of escape and as an identity. And if you had an injury and you couldn't use it anymore, then that would be detrimental to you. And so kind
I
of
can
working through
imagine. I
those
can
things.
imagine. Whether you're high school, college, or pro, when you get injured, you are literally they separate you from the team. You're not
Hmm.
taking part in the team stuff anymore. You're doing rehab and treatments and all on your own with the doctor or the trainer, whoever. So I can imagine
Hmm.
you've built this brotherhood or sisterhood, this camaraderie with your team, and you've learned to kind of be conditioned to go through the season with that. Now it's just you. So
Yeah.
I mean, it
And
just kind
so
of
it's
makes
that
sense.
isolation component of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kathy, you're typing away. Well, I can see
I
you.
know. I'm trying to make sure I got this information up on the Facebook site
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to look that QPR up as well. Because it's sometimes it's hard to get all that information out to people, the right people anyway, to know if they want to
Hmm.
get for different
Get
seasons.
involved. Yeah.
Because I know that there's different, those trainings are for individualized for each sport as well.
So, Kawana, moving forward, what's your kind of approach and kind of what are you looking to do specifically when it comes to you working with whether it's
Well, well, in my practice, I just love working with people in general, but especially athletes, because it's so many things, qualities that I see in athletes that I may not see in some people. I mean, athletes are resilient. That's hands down, they're resilient. Athletes are able to see opportunities and just kind of explore those opportunities, and they're able to build connections with people. I just feel like sports just teach so many things. And so I really want to expand upon how I can work with athletes. So currently it's just in private practice. So I'm just working with students in my business and, in a therapeutic aspect. But it would be good to just expand it a little bit more, maybe have conversations with students. But my biggest goal is just to empower someone. Like, if you need help, ask for it. If you feel like I'm struggling with this, who do I talk to? Like, hopefully someone's seeing this podcast and they can say, okay, well, I can go talk to a therapist, or, reach out to someone, because you don't want anyone to ever feel like they're alone. And I definitely want
Kwana, how
students
many times
to
too?
feel.
I'm thinking as you're saying that, have you and I even seen kids we know, whether it's there is a separation in the family or a death in the family, and
Hmm.
you're aware that this kid is struggling, boys are strong, they're not going to try to show it, but then you see it and they only want to talk to certain people or they don't want to talk to anybody, so there is definitely transitions and things that are happening in these kids' lives, and it just breaks your heart when you're watching those things happen, and that sport's probably the only thing that's, like you're saying, Jay, that's kind of right then saving them. That's the normalcy they have. That's the family they have at that moment.
Hmm.
The school
And
family.
so they go back to another benefit of sports, right?
Yeah.
That community.
But I can also see where maybe parents today know more of what resources are out there and are open to getting help for their kids. But it's good to know that there's places like you, somebody could give a call and just say, hey, how can this be helpful?
Yeah, I agree. It's just a benefit to have people reach out, to have people their emotions and their feelings, and not have it bottled up, because we definitely want to build resilient kids. I joke with people all the time. I was like, I need these kids to be productive and ready for society, because I'm going to need them to pay my Social Security one day, right? But I definitely think, if we can build or allow them to enhance their all those things that they've learned through sports in therapy, then it would be phenomenal, because in therapy they're able to explore how they're dealing with hard times, and how are they going to be able to deal with things when I am isolated from my team, or if I'm unable to do certain things, how can I give myself some grace? One of the things that I talk about a lot in therapy is like self compassion. That's super important, because sometimes we just are unable, some people are unable to see a setback or a mistake as is growth. Like, you're going to learn from this setback, you're going to learn from this mistake, and just give yourself some grace and be compassionate with yourself. So let's talk about that. What does that look like? How can you be compassionate to yourself? Some people are so hard on themselves that they don't have that ability, or don't feel like they have that ability to be compassionate to themselves. They might be more compassionate to a friend than they are to themselves. So just remembering that when you look in the mirror, you're looking back at yourself. And so you're always going to be with yourself. And we have to figure out how can we help you feel comfortable and give you that resilience and that self-worth to be okay with those mistakes and things that come along.
It's funny. I know baseball and softball are such. I mean, look, I love them both. I've played them both. All fan and lover all my life. But there's something very unique to baseball, especially as a hitter in baseball. You fail far more often than you succeed. You think of a
Yeah.
major league baseball player has a 300 average. That means he's failing 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Baseball's a failure sport. It just is. So there's something about like the value of good, compassionate teammates, like you talked about, is so much more important in baseball. And one would think that since they all are failing more often, that they're all in the same boat, they all are feeling the same
Mhm.
exact thing. You would hope that that would bond them even more so. That's not always the case. There's always one or two that are like, you know, bad eggs in the bunch, unfortunately. But it also it kind of reminds me of the self care thing, Kathy. You and I talk about almost every episode in some way about doing this self care consistently and intentionally builds your a strong sense of self. So now it doesn't mean that you're not going to be disappointed when you fail, when you strike out, or when you don't get a hit, because you are. You're a human being. But if you're taking care of yourself consistently enough to build that strong sense of self, and I know it's difficult when you're 15, 16-year old because that's not a priority.
Hmm.
You're being 15 or 16, but when you're college or pro age, you should be in that. Let me take care of myself overall. When the times come when I am isolated because I'm injured, or I'm in an over 12 slump hit at the plate, I'm going to be able to handle those things just a little bit better than I would have if I had not been taking care of myself in an overall sense. So, yeah.
And I think that's the key. Just like, I'm not going to be perfect, but I will be a little bit better than I was the day before, and a little bit better than I was the day before. And so if you can just constantly just think about those small nuggets, or those, opportunities for growth, is super important, because, it's a learning process. I mean, every day I learn something new.
Yeah.
I used to work in a school, and on the announcements, the principal used to say, "Every day is a great day to learn something new. So learn your something new today." And I really embrace that, because I do want to learn something new, and it's just a matter of what am I going to do with the new thing that I learned, and how am I going to apply it to my life.
Yeah.
And
There's a
Kathy, you asked a question earlier about, what do I hope parents learn? The biggest thing is like asking open-ended questions. So sometimes parents are just, and every kid does this, like, kids come home, you're like, "How was your day?" "Good." "Yeah." And it's like, that's all I'm getting, or whatever. But it's like, when kids are playing sports, maybe ask them open-ended questions, like, how do you feel about that strikeout, or what did you learn from that, or different questions such as, what do you want to work on next? Just anything, so it's not just like, "Good, I'm fine." Because you want to be able to recognize when your child is feeling differently, recognize the signs of burnout, recognize if they're starting to be withdrawal. Like, if they're saying good every day, then there's nothing different. but inside they might be, withdrawing from people. They might be withdrawing from the sport or whatever the case may be because they want to be perfect in something. And it's super important that we just realize that we tell kids that no one's perfect in anything. Everyone can just strive to be better each and every day. And so, just talking to them about what that looks like for them and what it might look like for you, and that, as a parent, being vulnerable to tell your own story.
So, Kawana, before we switch gears here and get into trivia, tell folks how they can get a hold of you if they want to use your services.
Oh, and we want to
Sure.
tell them too about your Ocean City.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have a conference coming up. Our agency, Perennial. I didn't get to tell you guys what Perennial stand for or how we came up with the name. So, any flower lovers, perennial flowers, kind of where we came from. But the thought behind that was, like a perennial flower, every season they come back bigger and better, and that's what I want for my clients. So I want my clients, because of our nurturing and our watering of their seed, that they will come back bigger and better each year, each session, and that they would have learned something to help them grow in some way. But we have a conference coming up in March. It's going to be March the 11th and 12th.
Wait,
The 11th is going to be with Cathy.
Slow
She's
down.
going to do a movie
March
discussion.
Conference for social workers, right? I'm gonna put this.
Yeah, social workers, counselors, therapists, marriage counselors, CEUs. Is going to be 9 CEUs for the that Wednesday is the movie night with Cathy, movie discussion. And then that Thursday, the 12th, we're going to have opportunities to receive credits in ethics. We're going to have a play therapist there, a expressive art therapist, as well as someone talking about the journey of grief.
March.
So hopefully you guys can come. Yep. March the 11th and March the 12th.
Okay, and to sign up.
Yep. So on our website, which is www.perennial-counselingcs.com, under our continuing education tab. Yes. .com.
I spelled all that right. I'm a terrible speller.
I will put it in the chat for you, Cathy. I will send it to you.
Isn't that sad? Somehow I misspelling. Okay. All right. I think I got this. Cool.
All right. And the same thing for our counseling services. So our practice is 100% virtual. However, for trainings, conferences, workshops, I will come out. But it's myself and 5 other therapists that work in the practice. And we are excited to help people along their journey in life and provide them with the skills needed to be productive and just to grow. I always say help on the wellness journey.
Awesome. So before we get out of here, we're going to have a little fun and switch gears. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do another round of music/movie trivia. And Kawana is excited to stump us.
I am. So I am not a big movie buff. I will say that.
Okay.
But I'm going to...
Shame on you, number one, but that's okay.
I'm not. Because I'm at the baseball is where I spend most of my days. So...
Those hotel nights.
But I did want to talk. My trivia is from Space Jam, the original Space Jam. All right, because we know, but they just had one come out. So, in the original Space Jam, when the alien Nerdlucks first arrive on Earth, which Looney Tune character do they meet first underground, and what game does that character challenge them to?
I feel like I might know the character, but I'm not sure. I might know the character, but I don't know the game.
I know I watched the movie, but I can't really remember much from it.
It's an oldie but goodie.
Yeah.
I got a character. Let's just break it down like that. Let's do character.
All I can think of is Bugs Bunny.
That's who I was going to say.
Okay.
All right, no.
Neither?
We're wrong.
What game? Let's see if we can remember what game they were playing.
Dang. All right.
You challenged them to.
I'm going to say...
Basketball.
I'm going to say war. Card games. War.
They first met Elmer Fudd, and he was playing golf.
I would bomb that.
You remember that?
Didn't they eventually play
Now you have to go
basketball?
watch it.
Dang, Jay. Jay, we're watching.
It was all about basketball.
Okay, that's why. Yeah, but I didn't realize they did something before that. Okay.
Yeah.
Jay and
All right, I got another one.
We watched the Bugs Bunny version.
You might get this one. So, what specific object do the nerdlucks use to steal the NBA players' talent? What object do they use to steal the NBA players' talent?
Is there a hint? Is it a
Kind
real
of.
thing?
I don't have a clue.
Wait, let me just take a guess. Is it a made up or a real thing?
It's a real thing.
What did they use? All right, hold on. Let me think. Jay. Guess something, Jay. If I was going to steal Jay's
So,
talent.
what object do the nerdlucks use to steal NBA players' talent?
I'm even trying to think of something that if I were writing a movie, I would write in as the object.
I'm going to steal your talent. I'm going to be Lindsey Vaughn. How am I going to take our skiing ability? I'm going to.
How you gonna take the NBA?
Wait, brainwash, like a. What's that thing?
That's wrong.
Hypnosis.
You ready?
Go ahead.
It was a glowing orange basketball.
Huh.
NBA players' talent
Yeah.
in the basketball.
I mean, it
You
makes
have to watch
sense.
the movie.
Yeah. It's been forever since I've seen that movie.
That movie came out in
We bombed that. We've bombed that.
20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
But I've watched it probably 20 plus times. I was hoping that you would get that one.
No, but that's good. The object of this is you want to steal.
Yep. I told Kawana that earlier. I love to learn.
No, we're this is competitive and we want to stump the other.
Go ahead, Kathy. What's your question, Kathy?
All right. I had two of them, but one's easy and I know you'll get, so I'm not saying it. So I went with a hard one. And then you're going to like say it's wrong, and I looked at the wrong source. But anyway, speaking of Halloween time, or because we're in the Halloween week, right? What is the highest grossing Halloween movie?
I know.
Now, do you mean,
Here it goes.
I'm asking you, the Halloween, the ones actually called Halloween, in the Halloween?
No, just say
That's a Halloween movie.
Halloween
themed movie.
season movie.
Okay.
I'm
Can
gonna
I guess?
go ahead. Yep.
Hocus Pocus.
Go ahead, Jay.
It's funny.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
This similar question was on another podcast, and they brought this up. So I'm going to say
Get off me.
Beetlejuice.
Neither of you are right. The movie It. I haven't even seen it. Isn't that the clown?
for me.
The creepy
Yep.
clown?
Yep.
God, no.
So I want to say to people listening, what the heck are y'all watching?
That's a Stephen
Yeah.
King.
Well, Jay said he likes to know the why.
I want to know why you
Not
want to see
what.
it. Because y'all having nightmares. You wondering why you can't sleep at night? Stop going to movies like
That's
that.
creepy. That's a creepy movie.
Don't be
Yeah,
going to
that-
creepy movies, y'all. That's
Let me
why
tell you how bad I am. I can't even watch the commercials for that.
Jason.
Like, I go like that.
I've never watched a Jason movie. I don't want to see Jason or Freddy.
I think I did one.
Didn't we have somebody on they knew somebody that played Jason?
We did. We did. We knew somebody that knew Jason.
That played
Oh my God.
Jason in the movie. And I can't remember who it is.
True story.
True
Yeah.
story.
A guest we had on told us. They said,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, here's a little." Was it?
I mean, that's not the kind of friend
Was it
I want.
Andrew?
I don't be friends with Jason.
I would be terrified.
Listen, we went to a Halloween. What do you call these things in the woods? Just haunted trip.
Like the pumpkin patch or
Waiting in
like the
line.
corn maze.
And who comes out? Freddy Krueger and Jason. I'm like, no. And I just kept saying, no. Don't look at
Did
me.
you do it?
Don't look at me. I'm not looking at you. And Dylan got a picture with Freddy Krueger. I'm like, really?
I don't do scary.
No.
So
There's clowns. Don't make clowns all crazy and scary. Don't do it. Beetlejuice. I like Beetlejuice. That's about as scary as I can get.
yeah.
All right.
So my question is a music trivia question.
Okay.
What is the youngest solo musical artist to have a number one record? The youngest solo artist ever to have a number one.
What's the age?
He was 13 when he had his number one hit.
It's one of two people. I'm going to lock in. All right, I've locked in.
I'm locked in.
Go
I
ahead,
might be wrong,
Kawana.
but I'm locked
All right, you're the guest. You go first.
in. I'm very wrong.
That's what I was going to say.
No, but here, yes and no. I said solo artist.
He wasn't solo then.
He was
He
with
was
the Jackson
tricked us.
5. That's why I said solo.
So now it's Justin Bieber. Is it Justin Bieber?
Nope. Stevie
No.
Wonder was 13 in 1963 with the song Fingerprints.
Sing it for us.
Really?
What's that?
I've never heard that song, Fingerprints.
I hadn't
You
either.
gonna sing it?
I don't know it. I've never heard it.
Okay.
Or it probably is. I've probably heard it. I just didn't realize it was called Fingerprints.
Okay, so
No,
you use a little trickery there.
And I made sure to say solo. Now, Jackson 5 with I Want You Back in 1970, Michael was 11.
See
But he
that?
was younger, but he was on a solo act at that point.
So Jay didn't
when did
trick
he become solo?
I know Off the Wall was like 79 ish. That was his first album. Like 79, 80. Off the Wall was his first album by himself. He was 11 in 1970.
Oh, okay. So he was 20.
Yeah, it was not. It was
Okay,
79 or 80. One of
1920.
those 2 years when Off the Wall came out, which was his first album.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, my first guess was Michael too. Before I looked up the answer myself, I thought, oh, that's easy, it's Michael. But then they said the first solo artist was Stevie Wonder. Michael
Oh,
was the youngest any of
see that?
anybody.
There's
Yeah,
our fact we learned today. That's
yeah.
our fact
11
we
years
learned
old.
today.
11?
And Michael was 11 with the Jackson 5 when he did his. Stevie was 13 by himself.
Okay. Wow. I learned my something new today.
I'm gonna throw this one out because it's Halloween and we won't
Okay.
be again until after Halloween. Billboard's a Halloween song, according to Billboard survey. Top song.
Monster Mash.
That's what it is. See, I knew you'd get it. That's why I didn't say that one.
That's when I think of music and I think of Halloween. That's just the song that I think of.
But Monster Mash or Thriller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monster Mash
The
is the
question
OG.
is, Kathy and Jay, what are costumes for you guys this year?
Oh, I'm going to be Wednesday Adams.
Are you?
I'm not dressing up. We didn't even dress up tonight. Last year on our Halloween episode, we dressed up.
We did.
I
Are
didn't
you
even
dressing
think.
up?
No, not this year.
But guess what? Marty's going to be Ted Lasso.
Really? Are you going to please send pictures or post them?
We dress up every year.
Oh, okay. I'm not big on dressing up unless last year Jasmine and I dressed up and we were twinning. We were Elmo and Cookie Monster. I think I was Elmo.
They're going to the Olympics, by the way. Sesame Street, just so you know. Elmo and Cookie Monster. I heard it
Going
today.
to the Olympics?
Yeah. For real.
Tell me more.
Cookie Monster is preparing his cookies.
You talking about the upcoming Winter Olympics in Utah? Yeah.
They're not in Utah. They're not in Utah.
Where are they?
Not in our country. They're not in our
I
country.
know what I'm thinking of. The next summer ones are in LA. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Let me see. Winter Olympics. I gotta tell you where they are now because everybody needs to know. I love
They're
them.
happening in February?
6. They will be Milan, Italy.
Italy. Yeah.
Milan and Cortina, Italy. February 6th to the 22nd. There you go.
Wow.
We should have a Olympic themed session, Jay, with like favorite Italian food.
I can't get into the Winter Olympics. I love the Summer Olympics. Love the Summer
Oh,
Olympics.
Jay.
I can't do the winter very much at all.
Me neither.
Jamaican bobsled?
I mean, like the bobsled and the ones the sled, all the sled ones where the two man that sing. I can do that a little bit. Hockey
I
I'll
like
follow,
skiing.
but there's so many. I like
I like the
swimming.
hockey, ice hockey.
I mean, I'll follow it, but like I'll watch. Like I love track and field. There's swimming in the summer, gymnastics in the summer. I mean, good gosh, soccer in the summer.
Well, the big, what was it? 1980, the big U.S.
Lake
SR
Placid, Marathon
USA.
on Ice.
Man, when we got to watch it live because we're old, right? Did you watch it live, Jack?
I think I
Wow.
did. Yeah,
That was like
that was
serious.
crazy. Yeah.
That was back in the days where we were used as the remotes, where we had to go change the channels for our
Yeah,
phones.
and we would have to
Yeah,
hold
you
the
had
antenna,
rabbit ears on
hold the
the TV
antenna,
show?
rabbit ears with our hand. Yeah, put
I
tinfoil
remember
on it.
sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor watching that. Anyway,
Speaking of watching things, Kawana, have you watched anything lately that you've enjoyed?
So I'm watching on Netflix. It's a series, not a movie. Doc. Have you seen that?
I've not. I've seen the. Is it the one where the doctor something happens to her? She's trying to come back to be the doctor
She had
again.
a car
Yeah,
accident
yeah,
and she has memory loss for the past 8 years. And so it's like she's relearning what has happened in the last 8 years. It's a great series.
yeah. I've seen previews. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What about
What
you,
about
Kath?
you?
So I'm still in the boring phase. We're watching Only Murders still. We're watching a little bit I'm doing that with Marty. I'm rewatching Stranger Things with Dylan. And when we're bored, like trying to go to sleep and need something, we're watching Marty watching Will and Grace over again. So we got like all these things going on.
Will and Grace.
Yeah, I forgot how funny that was.
Well, seriously, I forgot how funny it was. Is Frasier.
Oh yeah, I haven't thought about that in a
That's
long time.
that's one that I've been like. I can watch an episode or two a couple times a week. I like
Will
that
and
one.
Grace, I forgot how funny Jack and Karen are. They're just ridiculously funny. But Jay, I think I know you've been a little down on our Only Murders, but I think I saw.
I'm going to restart again.
But look, I will tell you this: we watch. I forget what we're on, 6 or 7. Because what is there, 10, 9? I don't know.
Yeah.
I did a little snooze in the last one because I was tired, so I got to go back and rewatch. And Marty's like, I was a little disappointed in that one. I was like, come on, Jay, stop it. But I thought that I saw somewhere on social that they did announce they're going to do a season 6.
Okay.
I thought it said in London, but I could be.
Yeah, I did. I saw something about that. Yes, that'd be pretty cool. Now I have watched season 2 of a new show. It's called Nobody Wants This.
Is
It's
there a reason why you went to season 2 and not 1 of whatever you're watching?
because season 2 just came out. I'd already seen season
Oh,
1.
okay. Because Jay does strange things. Like he watched some show backwards, so I'm just checking.
Sometimes, yeah, but
Like he'll watch all of season two and then go to season one.
not with this one. You can't. It's kind
He
of
did it with
it's
another show.
Okay.
He watched it.
that's because it's a dating show. There's no really like
So,
timeline.
how did you watch it?
Right.
So it's with Catherine Bell and Adam Brody, and what it is, it's he plays a rabbi and she is a podcaster. She podcasts with her sister. They meet and like everybody in their circle, like his mother, her sister, they don't think they belong together because he's a rabbi and she's the opposite person you'd ever think. She's not Jewish, so they don't seem to fit. So everybody's kind of against them being together. That's why it's called Nobody Wants This. Season 2, and the good thing was it was on Netflix. Season 2 just came out, and what I loved was all 10 episodes. They released them all at the same time, so you don't have to wait each week.
Always the
Didn't
way
have
it
to
is.
wait.
Yep.
So
So
did you binge watch it?
I literally watched straight 10 episodes straight through.
Take you.
I don't even remember. It was I started at like 7 o'clock. I did it over the weekend. It was like 7 o'clock, and then it was forever.
AM or PM?
They're like, but they're only 30-minute episodes, like 30, 35 minutes. It's a dramedy. It's comedy, but drama. It's
I think I've never heard dramedy in my whole life, Jay.
really well. I'm going to use it again because the movie I saw at the movies this past Friday night is called "Regretting You," and it's a rom dramedy.
Did you make the? Are you making
Like a
these terms
rom
up?
com?
Are you making these terms up?
No, well, rom dramedy
Where
I
you
think I
find them
did.
at?
I need to find it. I need.
Dramedy I've
I
heard
need to
before,
Google that.
We're
but
Snopes and you. Snopes.
rom dramedy I just made up. It's not a rom com. It's a rom dramedy.
Okay, so some of the girl kids in my household are gonna want to go see that this weekend. So
I actually really liked it. It's been the most enjoyable movie I've seen in a while, Kathy. Because I've been kind of a little like so iffy on movies lately. I really liked it. Like it's it's these two couples and you first see them in college. They're together. They kind of give you the foundation. Then they fast forward 17 years. One couple's married, has a daughter. The other couple's married, has an infant child, but they're not married. And I don't want to give too much away, but there's a tragedy that happens and they sort all that out. But the ending is fantastic. It's so good, like so good. It's like poignant because there's this tragedy, so there's like real drama going on.
yeah,
The 17-year-old's daughter's best friend is hilarious. Like she is like the comedic like part of the show. She's so funny, and you're either like empathizing one minute or you're laughing your butt off the next minute. That's why it's a dramedy. But there's also a romance that happens along the way, so it's a rom dramedy.
Dramedy.
Yeah,
No, what was the word?
rom dramedy. So,
You have to coin that.
but Kathy, if you want to go to the movies, that's the one you got to go see.
hey, look, listen, I'm excited about some other stuff. There's some new twists happening at the movies. So I heard, okay, one, did you watch Stranger Things, Kawana?
No.
Oh my God. I'm a big fan. Anyway, and obviously Jay's watched everything in the universe, but I heard they're going to be releasing some, is it the last episode to the screens, to the movie theaters or some movie theaters?
I have not heard that.
And I'm like very interested in that if that is the case. Because wouldn't that be cool to see that on the big screen?
That's exactly what I've been telling Chris. Well, like Disney ought to like release
Yeah.
because Disney has 6 episodes to all their series. They should release the first 2 episodes in the theaters, and then, in other words, you have
So,
to,
yeah.
and then the rest on Netflix or
So this
Disney.
makes me wonder then, Jay, if this is successful, will we see more of this happening? Because I, as a moviegoer, Netflix lover, I'm excited. I want to go see that. I want to cry in the theater with other people when I know that my character.
I emailed Chris that exact idea with Disney, and he said it's great for the fans, but he's like, they'll never do. They're not there yet. That Disney. I said, well, Disney's the parent company. You know,
Yeah.
Marvel, but it's Disney's the parent company. They're going to spend $50 million on a 2.5 hour thing instead of 200 million. And now you're going to be like, I have to go to the movies to see the first 2 parts of this 6 part series. So now they're going to make $1 billion and spend 50 instead of spending 200 million. And now people are going to be like, oh, now I've got to watch the last 4, and they're going to flood the last 4 episodes on Disney Plus. It's a win-win.
So I think I'm curious if this will change things.
I've been saying it.
You think if it's a success that they'll just go ahead and have more episodes?
We need to.
Well, this is the last season of Stranger Things. That like, there's no more. But the idea of releasing part of it in the theaters, I love that idea. I think it could work if done the right way.
Kawana, it's like a pop culture. I don't even know when it first came out. I mean, was it COVID-ish or did I discover it in COVID?
I think it was during COVID.
I just made up a word, COVID-ish. COVID-ish.
It started before because she was Millie Bobby Brown was like 11 or something, and she's like
11 was 11.
she's married and has a kid, had adopted a kid. She's early 20s, 21, 22.
So on November 6th, which is my birthday, they're going to release a little bit of, because that's what day Will went missing, 1983. So the other thing I'm excited about for movies is I'm considering, because did you hear that Wedding Crashers is coming out with its 20-year celebration or whatever anniversary? So they're going to put it in the re-release in the movie theaters and show like 10 minutes that has never been seen in the beginning of the movie. So maybe they're trying to get clever on some things to get people back in the movies. We might need to bring Chris back on to discuss these things.
I'm telling you,
You invented it all.
Well, no, I'm sure other people know this. These, because you know I'm so passionate about theaters, Cathy. I just want them to succeed. So I'm always trying to, look. I'm just a guy that goes to the movies. I'm not someone who works in the industry like Chris is. So I'm sure there have been people that have thought of this or better ideas long before I did, but it's not working because less and less people are going to the theater. So something's got to change.
Yeah. So anyway, those are my little movie scoops that I was excited about. Well, you got to be excited about Wicked, Kawana.
I'm very excited. Like, I'm ready to buy my ticket now.
Are you girls going?
You actually can buy your tickets now in the Easter theaters.
I want to be there on that Friday.
Wait, is that the Friday after Thanksgiving?
It's the Friday before.
November 21st. I'm excited about it.
The 21st.
Now, what do you think about Wicked?
I love the first one.
We've had this whole discussion.
Yeah, we had an episode about Wicked.
But at first, we were like, we were a little like, at first, weren't we? Were we like that, Jay?
No, I didn't. I said there was too much music, but I really liked the movie.
But I was like, I don't know. I mean, we've turned into...
Because I compared it to The Wizard of Oz, where the music mattered. Like, the music was part of the plot. It told part of the story. Half the songs... Now, look, Defying Gravity, that's the winner song. You can't beat that.
Amazing.
Don't take that out. That's fantastic.
So many good things coming up for movies and streaming. This is exciting stuff.
The, what's his name? Ariana Grande's boyfriend at the time that was in Wicked. That
Well, he's
played
not her boyfriend
the
anymore.
curly haired boy that
Curly hair guy.
that
Yeah,
had the crush.
yeah.
Well,
On the
Yeah.
that actor, I'm watching another show called Gen V, which is an offshoot of The Boys. He played the villain in that, but I didn't know he was going to be it. And I was like, that's Ariana Grande's ex boyfriend. He was in Wicked, but he plays this
I didn't know they
nasty
weren't
villain
dating
guy.
anymore.
neither. You're
No, they
this is
broke up a while ago.
see that he even knows. He even knows dating information. We are. That's the second thing we've learned today.
Oh
Single
yeah,
again.
I'm super excited about Wicked. Definitely when it came out on Disney, I mean Amazon Prime, we had to buy it just so we can sing over and over and over again.
Well,
So I'm looking forward to it.
I love like when we were little and you were not born yet, Kawana. Like my parents terrorized me with the original Wizard of Oz. I could not stand that movie, and it came on every year. And my parents thought it was a big deal. And you had popcorn and root beer floats, and I hated the movie. They bought me these Christmas toys that were like Barbies of the Wizard of Oz, and I hated that witch. I hated it. What's her name? The Maxwell House lady. I just did
Yeah,
not do her. I did not.
Margaret Hamilton. Yeah,
Oh, so I had to go to Broadway and really come to terms with my witch fear. And then I got over it because I was like, oh, okay, now I understand. So then when Cynthia Erivo, right, played her, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this witch. So she's made a whole generation love the witch.
well, yeah. The story of how she becomes the Wicked Witch is like makes you empathize. So she's a,
I
yeah.
think that's made up. Is it made up? Because the original, there's no way that was a nice person ever.
Well, remember, Kathy,
It was. I think she was. They just never showed it in that movie at all. So prior to Wicked, I was going to see Wicked. We watched The Wizard of Oz. I was like, I told my daughter, we have to sit down. We have to watch The Wizard of Oz. We have to be prepared for this movie. It did not prepare us at all. I was like, I haven't seen the Wizard of Oz in so many years. You're going to love it. She did not like it as much as I thought, but it didn't prepare me at all because the storyline is similar, but it's so different.
Yeah.
And I like Wicked
But I think the
storyline.
second one will follow, right?
yes,
Don't you think will
because
follow?
what happened was the book by Frank J. Baum, The Wizard of Oz, was written way. The movie was 1939. The Wizard of Oz, the original, was 1939. Yep.
Okay, there's
I
another fun
think the
fact we
book
learned
was the
today.
book was written in the 20s. So what happened was Wicked, the play, was created in the 80s. So they just took and said, "Hey, I wonder what happened before Dorothy got there," and they
So
and
back
then
in the 20s, she was really a nasty girl, woman, and it wasn't until the 80s that they decided to rewrite that.
yeah, and
See that?
part two does show you how, although they did show you a tidbit in the first one, how the cowardly lion, the lion cub, that's the
Yeah.
remember I told you about that, Kathy?
Yeah, where the boyfriend and the yeah,
The
Yeah.
one's the scarecrow, and
yeah.
one's the
Wait, who was
tin
the
woodman.
scarecrow? Who?
The curly haired boy with the crush is the
Who was the
scarecrow,
scarecrow?
and the prince that comes in is
Yeah.
he's the tin woodsman because he doesn't have a heart. Someone casts a spell and creates those characters that become those three characters that we're used to.
You are. How do you know all this, Jay?
She's full
I
of
just I watch everything. I read about everything. Yeah,
That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. Are you
yeah.
guys going to go the first week it comes out?
yes. There'll be so much to talk about. We'll have to bring you back on to talk about Wicked.
So we can talk about Wicked. Oh my gosh, I love Wicked. So yeah, definitely. And it'd be around Thanksgiving. Like it's a wonderful time because it's like you're getting ready for family time, and you get to
Turkey
watch a
and
great
Wicked.
movie. Because I know I'll watch it on the 21st, and I might want to go back on after Thanksgiving.
You might Jay will do that stuff. Jay will
I
watch.
like. I would do
I've
that.
done it a couple times. I did do it for the first Wicked
I
because I
could
didn't
do
want,
that.
I
Because
didn't
it
want to
took
sit through
10
all
hours to see it.
I didn't want to sit through all the unnecessary music. But
It was just too much
I've
music
played
for
that
me.
scene. I've
Sorry.
played the Defying Gravity scene on YouTube 100 times. I love that ending scene with that song.
The
And when they sang
question
it at
is
the
not how
Oscar,
many times you played it, but have you tried to defy gravity? Like, have you got a broom out of your closet and decided that you
Because that's
wanted
your
to
bonus.
I got my
defy gravity?
Swiffer. I got my Swiffer at work, and
I
it's
use my broom all the
2025.
time just to sing that song. I love it.
All right, before we get out of here, Kawana, we want to thank you for joining us, and anybody that might need Kawana's services, or might be an athlete that's looking for a conversation with Kawana. She gave you all her info. You can catch it on our live stream as well. Go back there and find it. We want to thank Kawana again, and we will catch you guys next time on Easter Shore Talk. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Now, Kawana, hang tight for a few